what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can. It's that time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
All right, then there are the Buddy Martin singers. There's Brendan Martin. Brendan, good evening to you on Meldon Law Monday. Good to be with you, son. Tonight I get to do the show with my son. We got Jeffrey Meldon waiting in the green or orange and blue room, we call it. We got Franz Beard standing by if we're having a few internet issues. We've got Kevin Brockway coming down the pike shortly. It's going to be interesting evening. We're talking about Steve Spurrier. Lots of stuff today, including the announcement that there will be a
Stella starting high school today. I just got.
Oh, that's a good. Congratulations to Stella, my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She is a land bulldog as of today. So
the land bulldog. She looks beautiful in there. I saw the picture. She looked great. I'm proud of her. So that's great. It's been a long day for you. Well, let's get right to it. We're going to go get Franz Beard if we can. Shall I bring him in or will you?
Yeah, let's see. I got him. Here we go.
Okay, listen. Hey, there he is, my man, Francis Beard. How are you, Francis?
Another day in paradise, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, it was really cool today. I did a column on Spurrier about being named the biggest villain in college football and all of college football. There's like 7 schools that voted for him as the villain. I mean, still, the guy had coached the game how long? Anyway, so they honored Steve today by announcing their throwback uniforms. Brendan had a beautiful graphic on it earlier, but with the white helmet, it's going to have the blue helmet. So Steve Spurrier still relevant, isn't he?
Oh, Steve will always be relevant. Steve took the SEC from the dark ages to modern times twice. First time when he was a college player. He totally changed the game there and made it a wide open game. And then he took us out of, reverted back to wishbone and veer and 3 yards cloud of dust type stuff. And in 1990, he came and reinvented the game a second time.
Yes.
And you could actually say he reinvented it 3 times because he proved once and for all that someone could win games at South Carolina. And nobody had ever done that before.
And beat Georgia. So anyway, it's a good column. It's up right now. You have a good column today. But don't forget, you need to belong to GatorBaitMedia.com. Check on it and get your good stuff off of there. Francis and I write lots of stuff these days. And we've got coming up in just a minute, Jeffrey Meldon. This is something that's really important, but it's not sexy. Like if I told you I got the announcement on the quarterback, which I don't, that would get you. But this is about an event, 4 events coming up. And Jeffrey Meldon, our partner, will be here in a moment to talk about it because it's so significant. Friends in the community of Gators comes together. They put all their emphasis together like they're doing with this event. The Florida Legends, the 3 Heisman Trophy winners are all going to be together for one of the few times ever, and you have a chance to be there and get a signed football, get your picture made, catch a pass, get a handoff, be a part. So Steve Spurrier, Danny Wuerffel, and Tim Tebow will all be there helping raise money for this particular the event coming up. And it's a great cause. I mean, great cause. It's the Isaiah 117 house. If you don't know about it, look it up and read. I'll talk to Jeffrey about it. And if you know about foster children, what an incredible importance it is to have people looking after the children. This is something that they've dedicated themselves. The house is going to be right here in Ocala. And the money that's being raised for this event, Farm Legends, there are 4 events. We'll let Jeffrey talk about them and tell you what they are. Will go toward this. And why it's important, friends, the Isaiah 117, these people step in immediately when there's a death in the family, the parents are arrested, their parents go away, whatever, and their children left at home with nobody to take care of them. The people of Isaiah 117 step in and find a place, make sure they got food, they're safe. It's such an important and critical point. So congratulations. These Gators are all coming together, and they're doing it at Spurrier's. How much better can you get? You have 3 Heisman Trophy winners going to be there. It's going to be at Spurrier's. It's going to be a fabulous event. So, yeah, check it out.
I'm eager to be there and have a chance to chat with some folks about who have been there for all 3 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. And you know, it's funny, buddy, but I've jokingly said for years we need to find another quarterback whose dad was a preacher and bring him here to Florida, because the 3, you know, we've actually are 4 for 4 on there, because Cam Newton, who transferred out, his dad was also a preacher. So, you know, preachers and quarterbacks at Florida has always been a very good thing, and a very, you know, it's led to a great success.
It is. It's been a good combination. By the way, we met Cam Newton's dad. You were a friend of his.
Yes, I was.
When he was playing here. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about the football team today and the press conference that you wrote about, and I wrote a little bit about Billy. Billy, I can't get Billy off my mind. Too many Billys. Jon is really getting excited about this thing now. You can see the pep in his step. You can see he's ready to go out there, and he has really put a lot of muscle, a lot of effort into it. They asked him tonight, have you thought about strapping it on, putting a uniform on? He said, no, I may be, I'm not stupid. He says, I wouldn't do that. But it is getting time, and you can begin to feel it in the air, friends. And today at the press conference, you can certainly see it in the excitement.
Well, you know, Jon is, I go back to something that Jon said at SEC Media Days. He said, I have bad moments. I do not have bad days. And I think he wakes up every day determined that today is going to be a good day. And you see it in the way he treats his players. You see it in the way that players respond to him as well.
Yes.
I think he's determined to bring out the best in everybody. And
he does.
When you have that attitude, I think it generates a very positive vibe for an entire ball club. And we've seen how positive vibes, you know, become contagious. For example, let's go back to 2006 when the Gators had that, they lost that game to FSU. I mean, not to FSU. They lost that game to Ole Miss. And all of a sudden that team came together. We had the speech, the promise, you know, and all of a sudden a team comes together. And when there's a positive vibe going, it can be very, very contagious, and it brings out the best in everybody. And from that point on, talk about a team that the best was brought out of. They did not have a bad game. They had winning games. Quite a contrast.
That was all. You and I were sitting right there when it happened, when he came back out and gave that speech, and we looked at each other and went, wow, I have never seen anything like that. You did the same. We were like 8 feet from Tim when he said it. A couple things I'm going to hit real hard before we get to Jeffrey coming in. Number one, the retro uniform. We showed some of it on the opening. Florida revealed they'll have a retro throwback for 2026 in honor of Steve Spurrier. And it's the one he wore. It's all white jersey and pants, but a blue helmet. I think we have a picture of a white helmet with blue and orange stripes and helmet and shoulder pads and the outseams. So they will wear it. They don't know who they're going to wear it against yet. They will have a throwback uniform in honor of Steve. And today, Sumrall talking all about what it's like for him to talk and be with Steve Spurrier, just raving about the experience. He said, I've seen the uniforms, excited about them, look forward to them. A long way from us wearing it, but I think they're going to look cool, and that's such a cool look. Also, friends, today was the day. I haven't heard yet. Kevin might be able to tell us. Full pads, first time.
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow. Preseason football camp intensifies, and tomorrow we'll get to Kevin later with that. They've had 15 spring practices, culminating with the April 11th spring game, and recent months featured the OTAs, player-led workouts, off-season conditioning. Florida State's fifth preseason practice Monday in helmets. He says, quote, we need to make sure we're at least building our bodies up to some of the heat, he said after it. So Sumrall anxious to see his guys compete. And on a basketball note, this tonight, friends, maybe you knew about this. Micah Angloden is leaving, expected to join NC State, Ole Miss, or USC. So he'll be leaving the team.
I expect it'll be North Carolina State. And this was a necessity for him. He needed to go someplace where he's going to get starters minutes and play. He could have stayed at Florida. I know it broke his heart to leave the Gators because he really loves it. But there were no guarantees that he'd get the fifth year. He asked for the waiver and got no guarantees. And now, thanks to the courts, he's going to get to play. And he's from North Carolina. I thought he was going to get with UNC, but they got this guy. It was first dog that barks gets the bone, and they got a 7-footer from South Dakota instead. And Micah will go over to North Carolina State, and he'll be a good basketball player there. He needs starters minutes, so.
Always be remembered for taking his red shirt off and making it count when it needed to.
They couldn't have won a national championship.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the one story I want to get to before we get to Jeffrey. We're going to go to him in about 2 minutes. The most hated coach in America today is still Steve Spurrier. Believe it or not, according to a poll by The Athletic, I wrote about this today, head ball coach is publicly number one in the SEC and ACC. Not Nick Saban, not Dabo Swinney. And he is the guy, after all these years, the one guy that is stuck in their brain is Steve Spurrier. So the top 5 villains were, number 5 was the Miami Hurricanes of 1990. They went through the list of all the teams, and they talked about players, coaches, whatever, who were the worst nightmare for these teams. Brian Bosworth was number 4. Johnny Manziel, I'm surprised he's at Iowa's number 3. Lane Kiffin, number 3. And still the number 1 villain in college football, based on what they did on the poll, is Steve Spurrier. I find that remarkable.
Well, you can't talk to a Georgia fan or an FSU fan about football and involve the Gators in the conversation without the name Spurrier coming up. And it's just impossible to do it. And you look at what he did. He won an ACC championship at Duke, and nobody can do that, but he did it. Back in an era when it was tougher to win it, I think, than it is now. Now the conference is quite diluted with, I guess, 16, 17 teams in there. And so the conference has been diluted to one aspect. But Steve won an ACC championship there, won 6 of them at Florida, won the first national championship ever here. And you look at him, 122, 27, and 1 career record here. And then he goes to South Carolina and does the impossible. 4 seasons, 40 wins in 4 seasons there. Nobody's ever done that.
And beat Georgia there too. So
beat Georgia, beat Alabama while he was there.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And we can't forget he also the Tampa Bay Bandits and in the USFL, and then in this spring league they have with the Orlando Apollos.
Yeah.
Before the league folded, they were going to win the championship there too. So,
You know what else, friends? It's great to have basketball and football coaches like we got now. And this guy who looks like he's taking a nap, Jeffrey Meldon, laying back there like he is. He's. We were talking about this earlier. Boy, the last time we had coaches like this was when Billy Donovan was here and Urban Meyer were here, I think, and the programs. And I know this Jeffrey's a huge basketball, but he's also a big football fan. And before we get into any of that, we've got to talk about the Florida Legends program, which you're so excited about. We were talking about it earlier. What an opportunity for people to get in next to the greatest players in history.
Yeah, buddy, let me do a little warm up because I want to thank you for letting our viewers and listeners know about what's going on with Florida Legends. This is the first time all three Gator Heisman Trophy winners have been together outside of New York City at the Heisman ceremony. And having Tebow come in with the head ball coach and Danny Wuerffel, it's going to be so exciting. Listen to this. They're going over to the sports complex at Celebration Point, right, 300 yards from Spurrier's. And Tebow and Wuerffel and Spurrier are going to be throwing balls to whoever wants to catch a ball. So it can be the donor, his kid, his grandkid, whoever. And you can have Tim Tebow throw your son or grandson a ball, watch it on video, have it transcribed, and when they superimpose the swamp on the throw, you're going to be getting a touchdown, game-winning pass.
Jeffrey, put your computer up a little bit, Jeffrey. We can't see your face.
Okay.
There you go. Football. There you go. Go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
anyhow, and not only that, then whoever throws you the pass is going to give you that ball signed by him to you, your kid, your grandkid, whatever. And that's only the afternoon. And it's going to be incredible. In the same sports complex on Saturday and Sunday, they're having the largest sports card show in the history of Gainesville, Florida. Over 150 sports cards vendors are showing up, and there's already 5,000 people registered to come. And all our Heisman Trophy winners are going to show up at some time during the event and make an appearance. So it's going to be a huge day, Sunday, August 23rd, and starts probably in the morning with the card show and runs right into the afternoon with the football toss. And then the big event is 6 to 8 o'clock at Spurrier's, and they're going to be doing 3 rooms: the Wuerffel room, the Spurrier room, and the Tebow room. And you can pick your seat out, how close you want to get to any of the Heisman Trophy winners. You can
the closer, the more the seat is, the closer you get.
Well, I put together a group so we could sit at Tebow's table.
There you go.
I mean, I hang out with Spurrier quite a bit, and I know Wuerffel.
You know a lot of people.
But Tebow is a rare dude. So having him come for this event is a testament to the cause. Isaiah 117 basically takes orphans who have been separated from
recently.
Yes, they're separated from their family, oftentimes in the court where the parents are deemed unfit. And that day, they're not able to go straight into a foster home because uh, nobody knew what the court was going to do. So oftentimes the social worker will take them back to their office and give them a sleeping bag, and they sleep on the hard, cold floor of an office building for weeks at a time until they can be placed in a foster home. And these are, innocent children. So Isaiah 117 was founded by a group out of Tennessee, the Paulson family, who experienced this they were foster parents, but they saw the terror that was in the child because of the experience between the court and their home, which was several weeks. And they were dedicated themselves to building really nice homes in communities like Ocala, which is already Ocala's already on the way, and Gainesville is next. That's what this is all about. Comfortable homes, so that the kids could go there until they transition to a foster family. They're beautiful homes. They can. I think they've accommodated already over 20,000 kids. There's 60 homes. There's 60 of these homes around the Southeast United States, and to get Tebow, Spurrier, and Wuerffel all behind this cause means that it's substantial, because I can guarantee you that Tebow's team screens every charitable cause.
Yeah, it is so great because there's so much wrong with our world today. We wake up lamenting the way we feel about our world. Nothing seems to be going right. People are hurting. It's just issue. To have a group of people come together to do something like this, and especially since it's Gators community, to give their time and effort to help raise this money is a beautiful thing. I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of my hometown of Ocala for stepping up and making it happen, for the Gator community doing this. This is a wonderful thing. We don't shill. It's like my friend Terry Bradshaw said the other day when he met John Mateer, how much he loves the guy from Oklahoma. He says, I'm pimping for John Mateer. I love him. Well, I'm pimping for the Isaiah 117 house and what they're doing there. It's a fantastic thing. And anything I can do, I want to know. Not all of us are big hitters. We can't give money. Tell us, I know this is an expensive deal, Jeffrey. Let's be honest about it. So was it, can you give us some numbers?
I think to get into the gala dinner, which is 6 to 8 in the evening, I think $300 to $500 per person will do it, and it's tax deductible. It's a qualified charity, and I mean, I want to be there. And Spur is going to take charge, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, if they give Spurrier, the platform, he's going to grab
Give
it.
him the microphone. So you got to do.
Yeah, but I know that Tebow's going to step up to the plate as well with Wuerffel, and so it's going to be a one of a kind evening. So it's fllegends.com.
Yeah.
All the information about getting in. What I will tell you is, number one, we really want our Ocala Gator fans to show up. Okay. Do. There's a lot of you out there.
Come on, Ocala, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, well, a lot of folks haven't heard about this yet, but these kind of events, it's never too late to join, and it's going to be a trip. I mean, having all those guys there. If you have a company and you want to do a larger donation, there's a private party up above at Visors from 5 to 6 with the 3 Heisman Trophy winners in a fairly small group, and you're going to be able to get your picture with them, memorabilia signed by them. Whatever you want done. They're going to do it because it's a great cause.
Yeah, FloridaLegends.com. Friends, this is a great event. This is a meaningful cause. You couldn't get any better than this, friends.
Well, and I'm not shocked at all that the guy behind it is Jeffrey Meldon. I'm not trying to toot your horn, Jeffrey, because enough people do that for you already. But I will say this: there is nobody more involved in the Gainesville community and in integrating the community with the University of Florida than Jeffrey Meldon. And if it's a charitable and good cause, you're there, and people don't have to ask twice. You ask once, and it's a done deal. And there's something to be said about that, Jeffrey. We need more people who answer the bell, and the bell rings a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they say, friend? It's not how much money you make, it's how you spend it and how you give it away.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about it is, there's a wonderful story about J.C. Penney, who founded the J.C. Penney stores, and he was making so much money that he grew up giving 10%. You know, that was it. His mom said that, and he's making so much money that he starts giving 20%, and he's making more money than he ever made again. So he started 30. At the time of his death, he was given 90% of the money he earned, and yet his money was multiplying so many times that he couldn't spend it all. And see, you store your treasures up in heaven, Jeffrey, and you do a good job of that.
Hey, I just want to segue real quick. I had dinner with the assistant basketball coach, Corey McCray, tonight, and the basketball backcourt, as you know, 2 years ago was the best in the country, maybe the best in the last, I don't know, 25 years.
At least.
And then we lost, we lost our
Denzel
guys.
Aberdeen.
Elijah, Will, and Walt all left right to the NBA. And last year, people don't realize how big of a challenge that was to try to reconstruct a backcourt. And this year, Corey assures me the backcourt is going to be fearsome. And, we already know our front court is solid. But last year, the reason we lost, 4 games early in the season was because our backcourt was learning how to play together with the rest of the team and with each other. This year, we're not going to have that problem. And I think, Denzel Aberdeen is going to be,
True missing link.
The missing link. You got it. Yeah.
And I'll say this, and maybe you'll agree with me, Jeffrey. Xavier Lee is a fine basketball player. So is Boogie Fland. But I don't think they were ever meant to be playing together. And they had spurts, but there was never that kind of consistency that we saw with Walt and Elijah and
a lot, and
Will Richard, and then with Denzel coming off the bench. We didn't have there was always that. I always felt there was a little bit of chemistry missing, and I learned everything I needed to learn talking to Tommy Hawk, and he says he's out in California and he gets a phone call. It's Denzel, and he says, "Where are you?" He says, "I'm in your house, sitting on your sofa." And he says, "You think you guys would let me come back?" And he says, "Oh, absolutely." And he talked to Todd, and Todd says, "Are you kidding? You want to come back? You're back." He is that guy that can spell Boogie at the point, can give you great defense, could play even 3 positions defensively, solid enough shooter, and has no ego. Truly has no ego. He fits that team so perfectly. I think we're in for a year to remember with basketball. We've had 3 of them that go beyond anything anybody ever imagined, but I think this one could be the best one yet.
Yeah, I don't think we need to take anything for granted. As we said back in the day, when we're winning national championships every year. Friends, you tell that story again about that night we were after the Oklahoma game. You and I and Tim Casey went for a 2 a.m. breakfast at Denny's after beating than winning the national championship we talked about. And what did we say?
Said, savor the moment. We may never have another one like this again.
Yeah. What year was that?
That was 2008.
Yeah. So it's
That
been a
was
minute.
January of that was actually January of 2009, but it was celebrating the 2008 season.
Yeah. So
And-
while you got it, and you don't ever know how did you know, Jeffrey, how long you're going to have it. So just enjoy it while you have it, right? And what a great time it is to be a Gator right now. And like I said earlier when we started out, to have a football coach like we think we got, and I really think he's the real deal. I know people say, well, don't get too excited. Well, I am. I think the guy's got it figured out all the more I read about it and learn about it. And then to have a basketball coach we know has won a natty, could have won a second one, and might win a third one. So it's a good time right now, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to fly out to Las Vegas November 17th through the 19th. Hey, friends, Bobby D told me you're going out too.
Absolutely. I'm not going to miss a game this year.
So, oh my God, they're so excited because, you got Houston, Kansas, Notre Dame, right? I mean, it's going to be such a cool tournament. And, it's going to, I think, be a highlight. Although our opening game against Miami down in Tampa on November 2nd, that's going to be a hoot as well.
Well, the thing I like about it is they're going back to the scene of the last crime where they lost the ball game. And I think they're going down there with the feeling of, oh, we got to have some redemption here. And I don't think it matters who they play, although it is Miami, it's a big deal. But I think that getting back there and winning a game at that arena where they lost their last game last year, I think that's a big deal in the minds of these guys.
Well, Todd Golden's jacked up about it as well. There's some competition there between Miami coach and Todd. So he is going to have his team ready to go.
Yeah.
Jay Lucas, who was a one-year Gator, could have been here a long time, but he left, and I was always disappointed that he did. Of course, one of the reasons I was is because I was close friends with his dad, Jon Lucas, who was from Rocky, was from Durham, North Carolina, and I was a newspaper editor, sports editor up in North Carolina at the time. I knew Luke from the time he was a high school junior at Hillside High School in Durham. So I was always disappointed that Jay decided to leave.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, look, I can't tell you how excited I am for football season. September 5th. I think it's going to be a special event, but this Florida Legends event, it's August 23rd. And listen, it's a Sunday. So all of you that have kids or grandkids that you want to, give them a magical moment and catch a pass from Tebow, be there. And there's on the Florida FLLegends.com, it gives you all the pricing and the opportunity, and all the money is going to basically help orphans. These are kids thrown out on the street, and we're doing something to help them. The Ocala house is already on the way. The Gainesville house is next. So it's something that people in Marion County and Alachua County can donate money to and help our own community. So
I think the Lutheran Church is behind it here. I don't know. I got to find out more, but we certainly want to get behind all that for sure. And by the way, not to change the subject, but there was an unbelievable piece last night on 60 Minutes about Mitch Albom. You guys know who Mitch Albom is?
Yeah, one of my favorites. Detroit, the Detroit Free Press, right?
Yeah, I've known Mitch pretty well. I interviewed him once for a job years ago. What he's done down in Haiti is incredible. He's just supporting them. If you haven't seen the piece, he and his wife have dedicated their life to children, to Haitian children who have no parents or whatever, and they have a conduit. They have a compound down there. They have to have 30 some or 25 guards just to. He goes down there once a month. He goes down there and loves on the when he gets out of the car, the children just mob him and love him. And he's a former sports writer. He's written some great books. Tuesday with Mari. I must say, I'm so proud to say I know him. I'm so proud of what he does. It just blows me away. And God bless him and his wife for what they're doing. Because you know what? You just don't get people to care like that. It's just so great to see people who have nothing to gain except trying to help the children. That's a fantastic thing, which is what we're trying to do tonight, Jeffrey. Get the people out there to do this. So enjoy your time, Jeffrey. We'll get you back on here again soon.
Hey, buddy, as a parting shot, I want to tell you, Tuesdays with Maury was one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Really?
I read that book and I think about it, about what that experience was for a young sports writer.
Very young. Yeah.
But he flew every week. He'd fly to New York and spend time with Maury, and he wrote this incredible book that to this day, though, the emotions and the caring in that book were so deep that it moves me every time I think about it.
I wish you'd seen that piece on 60 Minutes. It was just wonderful. And they've got a book out now called Twice, I think it is. Anyway, so people doing good things for children. Jeffrey, thank you for all you do, brother.
Okay, August 23rd.
All right, gotcha. Write it down.
Be there or be square.
Okay. And by the way, don't forget, next Monday, I think, is Spurrier's 5th anniversary.
The 17th. Yeah, so that's going to be fun, too.
Yeah.
You going to be there?
I'll be there.
I will be, too.
All right. Jeffrey, thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate you.
Okay. See you later, guys.
Be well. All right. Good night.
Bye.
We'll say good night to Jeffrey, and we'll say hello to our friend. Let's see. I thought Brendan was driving, but I don't see him. Let's do this. And then I'll go see. There's Kevin right there. Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. What's up, Kev?
Good morning. Some nice stuff on Mitch Albom. I met him at the 1997 APSC convention at the Hotel Dom Cesar. I don't know if you remember that, buddy, or if you were still a sports center then, but he had a band. He played with a bunch of, and they did some entertainment after the award ceremony. It was really cool. It was really neat. And as a young shot, I was a young sports center in QS at the time, and to be able to go up there and just talk shop with him and shake his hand. And I had a book of his columns called The Album Reader, which was very good and was very influential in kind of my young sports writing career in terms of, trying to learn how to build a narrative flow. I think as sports writers, and fans would probably agree with this, and you would agree with this, buddy, is we all tend to steal from different people. We're all readers, readers, and we tend to steal our narrative styles from a lot of people. And Mitch Albom is definitely one of those early influences that I tried to steal from.
I'm still stealing from friends. No, Mitch was in Ocala, I don't know, maybe 8-9 months ago. No, years ago. Came here and I went out to an event there while he was there just to see what he does. He does an incredible job. I love people who are unsung heroes. Well, you know all about the practice tomorrow. Fellows in, pads tomorrow. I know you listened to the press conference today and what Jon says he's going to do. And is it a thud practice tomorrow? Is that what it is?
Well, he said tag, right? He didn't say thud yet. I think it's going to be
tag and then thud.
It's gonna progress that way. But it'll be interesting tomorrow to see. We'll have an open portion. Maybe we'll see a little bit of physicality. We'll see how much hitting they do. I mean, they'll be on the sleds and so forth. And maybe you'll have some of those offensive line, defensive line matchups, which are always fun to watch and gauge. But I do think that. Hey, look, it'll be a chance to see a little bit of physicality out there, a little bit more, which Jon has been preaching about. But, also be interested to see how the, quarterbacks throw the football. I mean, Trammell looked really good on Friday when we saw him in the open period then. So we'll see how that battle with him and Aaron continues to progress. And I thought what was interesting what Jon said today, too, was talking about playing a lot of guys the first 2 weeks and getting a feel for what his team is going to be. So it sounds like, people are going to have a lot of opportunities into the third game of the season in Auburn to kind of show what they can, what they're all about.
Get those programs out there. You're going to be needing them, that's for sure. By the way, let me just say real fast, thanks to our fine sponsor. We just had Jeffrey on, by the way. Meldon Law, they do a lot of great things in the community. You heard France talking to them about what they're doing and what they do in the community and what they do for the Gator Nation. And just want to remind you, they are in the law business. If you need help, they got 4 locations here to serve you, 1 in South Florida. And I went there, and they helped me a lot. And if they haven't got the right attorney on staff, they'll find him. You need help. When you need help, you need a lawyer. And nothing like having a good Gator friend as a lawyer and a guy you can trust who's honest. And Jeffrey has done a spectacular job. Meldon Law, they want back down. Okay, so Kevin, apparently Richard Blumenthal and 2 House Representatives want, have you heard about this? They want players, this players union to prohibit promotional deals with betting operators, such as personalized greeting features of Philadelphia Phillies star Bryce Harper that was sent to a VIP gambler by a sportsbook. I have a theory, and I read this today, that what's happened all of a sudden is we're getting too jam uptight with too much gambling, and their partners, they have major influence over what's happening on the field, what's happening and the sponsorships they do on media. It's getting dangerously close, and I think this is a result of that. According to what Blumenthal said, U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut says, we right to demand an end to the MLB and MLBPA policies that enable this type of predatory promotion. Blumenthal and Representative Paul Tonka, a Democrat from New York, and Valerie Bushi from North Carolina said in a letter to the league and Major League Baseball Players Association. In November 2024, FanDuel sent a cameo featuring Harper to a VIP customer and said the bettor later sued the sportsbook, claiming it had taken advantage of his gambling addiction. So where do you guys stand on that? First of all, Franz, you.
I think they need to get the gambling out of it. I'm concerned about the gambling because they're making it too easy for gamblers to have access anyway with NIL stuff. And we've had this discussion before, I think, when Kevin was on. If you think for 1 second that some kid, another Brendan Sorsby out there, who may get himself into some hot water, all of a sudden is approached, well, if you kind of overthrow a couple guys or you kind of throw an interception here or there.
We're not asking you to lose the game.
Well, but this is the thing that when you make gambling appear such an enticing thing, and you have further opened the door so that anybody, any kind of unsavory character, can, with some donating some money and stuff like that, all of a sudden he gets access he's never had and so forth. Like you just open too many doors for too much wrong to happen.
Too much temptation.
Yeah. It's interesting to me because, I did the story when I was in Destin. The prop bets are dangerous because, like you said, you don't have to lose the game. You just have to say, only make X amount of free throws or X amount of completions and stuff. And you can overthrow a pass on purpose, right, or whatever. But there is only one state, though, in the SEC footprint that allows prop betting on college sports, Kentucky. So I guess that's a positive sign. But I do think, I think it is creating some danger. One of the major busts involved a lot of HBCU schools. And why was that the case? Because, those are schools that don't really have much in the way of NIL funding or rev share funding. So they have to, the kids are finding ways to cash in too. They see what's going on with the big time college athletes and they want money too. And they see this as a quick way to get some funds. So it's a sad climate and it's a reflection on society. And hey, it even filters into sports media, right? 2 major personalities. One that I grew up following or 2, another guy who was my sports editor at the Miami Hurricane. Dan Le Batard is sponsored by the Bet Rivers Network, right? So is Mike Francesa. So it's even filtering into the sports media world. Rip wrapped up. So
No, there's a lot of
for
them
one of those
Wisconsin.
two to speak out on would be somewhat hypocritical considering they're writing their checks.
I'm not going to lie. If FanDuel wants to come on and sponsor the show, I'm going to let them sponsor it. But I just think it's getting too dangerously close.
Yeah,
to
buddy,
the
but
athletes.
if you're going to let them sponsor it, then can you speak out on sports gambling? That's my
Well, I don't know. I would.
If they're
you know,
writing
you-
your checks.
You know me. You know how I am, how I've been. I try to speak on my mind no matter what. Sometimes this costs me. But, I'd like to think I would, but you never know. All right, here's a little game to play before we get into a couple of predictions. The predictions are coming in now. There's one today I'm going to mention for Florida's record. We're getting close to that. So this was a random ranking the best rivalry games that include SEC teams, okay? And I had to look some of them up. There's 10 of them, and these are what they call the best. I'll give you 3 or 4. You can comment. Number 10, LSU versus Alabama. Number 9, the Magnolia Bowl, LSU Ole Miss. Number 8, Deep South's oldest rivalry. You know what that is? Auburn, Georgia.
Yep.
These are all games or tradition. What do you guys think? Anything there resonate with you?
I think Alabama LSU has developed into a tremendous rivalry, and all you gotta do is look at the fact that LSU won national championships in 2007 and 2019, and Alabama followed the 2007 winning one 2 years later with Nick Saban, who won the 2003 national championship with LSU. So there's a lot of blood between those two schools. And
Kevin?
I was going to say from 2010 to 2020, that Alabama LSU game pretty much determined the path to the national championship, right? When you think back to it, because usually the winner of that game had the leg up on the, in terms of before it was the SEC West, but it was obviously when you had divisions and getting to the SEC title game, and then there was time really where the SEC West was dominant over the SEC East from about 2010 to 2015. So yeah, that was the big game in terms of I don't know necessarily about it's a little bit of a border ride, but more for like the stakes. It was a lot like Miami FSU in the 90s, I would say.
Okay, there's the next two. Those are 10, 9, and 8. Here's 7, 6, and 5. 7's the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State. 6 is the Border War. I had to look that one up. Kansas, Missouri. And 5 is the third Saturday in October, and that would be Alabama, Tennessee. What do you think of those 3?
Alabama, Tennessee is a pretty good rivalry. The other two, I mean, the Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl just doesn't turn me on at all. They've only had a few games that I would consider really significant over the years. Kansas and Missouri. Both of those schools have had more disappointing years than they've ever had good ones. So Alabama, Tennessee, that's a pretty good rivalry.
Friends, I don't know if you were at the last Missouri game, but they played Mr. Brightside between the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And the student section, the fans, they yell MIZ, and instead of ZOU, they say FKU. So that's kind of their thing. There's a lot of hatred there. Maybe the football isn't great all the time, but it's pretty intense for sure. So and Josh Heupel has brought the Tennessee pride a little bit back, and that Alabama Tennessee. But for a long time, that was a real one-sided rivalry with Alabama was really dominant in the Saban era there.
All right, this is just one guy's ranking. I don't even know who he is, but I thought it was a pretty good list. Okay, here's 3 more. This is 4 Lone Star Showdown. You know what that is?
Should be Texas A&M.
That is correct. And the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. We know what that one is.
Yeah.
And the
Number 3?
An Iron Bowl.
An Iron Bowl is 2?
Iron Bowl, that's 2. I'm going to tell you what is after that. So it's they got the Lone Star Showdown number 4. They had the Florida-Georgia game number 3, and the Iron Bowl ahead of it at 2. Kevin, what do you think?
Well, if they make number one Oklahoma, Texas is kind of weak because those are nouveau SEC programs. I think Georgia, Florida should be number one.
Okay. France?
I would say Georgia, Florida, and Alabama, Auburn should be tied for number one, because with Alabama, Auburn, you're talking about 365 days of pure hatred every single year. I don't know, Florida and FSU or Florida and Georgia, we tend to get along when we're not playing each other. Alabama and Auburn, that's another story altogether.
Right? They poisoned the trees. Harvey Updike, the late Harvey Updike.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Okay. That's just a little flavor of some of those. With today's world, you never know how many of those games will be taken off the board. We might even lose the SEC championship game. Okay, here's a story that has kind of slid under the radar.
Wait, did you said number one is number one Oklahoma?
Number
Texas?
one is, yes, Red River Shootout, which I hate that name.
It's not an SEC rivalry. Or is
it is now.
Rivalries?
Technically, it is.
It is now.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
It's not. It's 2 years in the league. Come on.
This is what it is. They're going. No, we could have those
not
guys
a
could be
traditional
playing for. They could be playing for the SEC championship this year. These guys. You never know. All right. So, here you go. By the way, R.I.P. to Don Nelson, the great coach who died.
Yes, very sad.
Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask can't catch a break. You think he's finally going to get to play in Tampa, and then Tom Brady shows up, and then the next thing you know, you've got Baker Mayfield playing great, and Kyle Trask can't seem to catch on. Now he's gone. And he was signed by the Carolina Panthers as a third quarterback on Sunday. And so Trask gave the Panthers the third quarterback behind Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett. Trask has familiar the Panther offensive coordinator Brad Idzik, who spent the last 3 seasons with Tampa Bay. What's with Kyle Trask? Friends, we saw him play so great. Come out off the bench cold. We thought he was going to be a solid player in the NFL.
Well, I still think he can be, but you got to be with the right place at the right time. Playing quarterback in the NFL is about getting in the right system. And you get in the right system with the right coach and you can succeed. And there's a lot of guys who bounce around the league for a lot of years, then all of a sudden they have a great year and everybody says, well, where did he come from? Well, the reason he bounced around was he never was in the right system. And if Kyle gets in the right system, I think he could have a good career.
Rising to the occasion. Yeah, like what about, the famous Trent Green and Kurt Warner, and then Dick Vermeil saying, well, we're all around Kurt Warner. But by the way, did you see this rather surreal video clip? Because I guess Felipe Franks is in camp trying to catch
Kyle Trask throwing passes.
Kyle Trask throwing passes to Felipe Franks. I mean, you talk about, the surreal life, that's interesting.
Very bizarre, yes.
I think Kyle has having been coached by Dan Mullen, I think Kyle's going to bounce. He will bounce around the league until he gets a shot, I believe. Everybody knows the background where he's been coached up, so he can go into a place and he can pick up an offense quickly, stuff like that. It's kind of like Shane. Shane was in the league for 14 years.
14 years.
But Shane could pick up an offense in a hurry, and people knew that. Shane, I think Kyle's got things going for him to stick around a while. I don't know that he's ever going to get to be a starter, but if he gets in the right system, he could be.
Sure like that kid. All right, it's getting down close to where we have to start thinking seriously about how good this team is going to be. I think they've had 15 practices counting spring. They're starting to get a few reps. They're going to put on pads tomorrow. They're going to scrimmage on Saturday. We're going to see this team and start picking this team out. He said today he was going to play a lot of players, indicating he has no hurry to name a quarterback. From what you've been hearing out of practice, what you're hearing from the coaches and the players, and now we're beginning to see some of these guys making picks, like Brad Crawford, college football writer. says he thinks Florida's going to go 7-5. Predicts that he'll go 4-5 in the SEC. Just Florida's talented roster to rank finish should be Sumrall's year one goal, thanks to his getting his roster together. Anyway, Florida could have as many as 6 ranked opponents. Very tough, arduous slate. Strength of schedule is the biggest obstacle. No worse than it was last year. However, I think this team has the opportunity. What are we not seeing that might be better than we think, and what are we not seeing that will be worse? I think the offensive line is going to be okay. Kevin, what do you see?
Yeah, well, I think, Jon Sumrall is a little more encouraged with the offensive line because of the shape they got in the offseason. Now they transformed their bodies, stronger, a little bit leaner. We'll see how that plays in the SEC, but more powerful, which they hope is going to, pay dividends there. It's interesting. You talk about the schedule. So USA Today or USLBM, the coaches poll, right now 5 ranked teams, but 4 in the top 10. And Mizzou, who's 25, which I think is kind of a toss-up game. But, you look at Ole Miss, you look at Georgia, Oklahoma, and Texas. I mean, those are the 4 top 10 teams. And if you can steal one of those, beat Missouri, and win the rest of the games you're supposed to win, then, yeah, you might have an 8 or 9 win season.
I'd love to see 8 because it would double last year's total. I think 8 is – Kevin, I would agree that 7 is probably very realistic, but I think 8 is doable, and I think it would set a nice precedent and resonate well because you can say that in your first year in the SEC, you doubled the year before's win total and got to a fair. You get 8 wins, you're going to get to a fairly decent bowl. You're not going to have to go to Shreveport, where if you lose, you got to spend an extra week in Shreveport, something like that. So,
yeah. Well, I must say that I'm anxious to see this team get down the field. I got a feeling they're going to execute so much better. Now, how that translates, I was encouraged by what I saw in the Hall of Fame game. Did you guys see that game?
Saw excerpts from it. I didn't see the whole game.
Yeah. Well,
Carson Beck played pretty well, huh?
Yeah, he did. Carson Beck did. But then on the other hand, the QB who took him in is the former Georgia Tech quarterback that he could coach by, which I thought was a heck of a impressive performance by him. All right. So as we counted down, looking at the finality of the night, we'll give you a chance to say add what you want to add, anything you're doing with pieces you're writing. But I want to mention, if anybody ever deserves a statue, it's this guy, and he's going to get one. Archie Manning is getting a statue.
Yeah.
Athletic director Keith Carter informed Manning Saturday the plans to honor him with a 13-foot statue from his legendary playing days for the Rebels. Statue has been commissioned and will unveil in 2027 Ole Miss football stadium. Manning said it's expected to be displayed between Manning Football Complex and the Vaught Hemingway Stadium. Congratulations. He deserves it, doesn't he?
No question about it. And he's still – his game against Alabama his senior year still goes down to me as one of the 2 or 3 greatest games I've ever seen a quarterback play. He threw for 300-something yards, ran for 104. And Archie and Ole Miss, that was like Secretariat playing on a team with 10 donkeys. And he was head and shoulders better, and still the best college shortstop I ever saw as well.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys ever heard this before? Chris Sale was thrown out of the game by the umpires for arguing something from the day before. Did you ever hear that, Kevin?
No, I have not. Chris Sale, former FGCU pitcher down in the Naples-Fort Myers area.
Yeah.
And has had a heck of a career and is having a nice year with the Braves. So
yeah.
Florida kid. So
for sure, yeah. But anyway, I thought that was quite interesting.
I'm interested. Rocky Rowe, who is still the youngest umpired ever. His first World Series game, he was the youngest umpire ever to call the World Series game. He's a good friend of my sister's. He lives down here, and I'm eager to ask that question of him. Did he ever have that kind of a situation?
Yeah, amazing. France Beer, what you got coming up? We'll read now. We got 30 seconds.
More on Jon Sumrall and his optimism. I like the fact that this is a guy that doesn't have bad days. He has bad moments, but not bad days. I think his positivity is going to reflect well with this team.
Kevin Brockway, what you got going on in the Gainesville?
Story tomorrow morning on why Jaden Woods is wearing number 0, the inspiration behind that. And our top 30 countdown, 1996, getting down to the final 5. James Bates was 7, Jeff Mitchell was 6. So look for the top 5 this week, all the way down.
Great stuff from Kevin Brockway and Fran Spear. You can read them both. Fran's at GatorBaitMedia.com, Fran. And at the Gainesville Sun or Gannett, you can read Kevin. Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thanks. All right. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it. All right. Good night. All right, folks. I want to thank Jeffrey Meldon. And tonight, thanks to Brendan Martin. I know he's here somewhere. We're about to say good night to him. And Jeffrey Meldon, thank you for his contributions and for his great job he did for us. So have a good night. Thanks for listening. And thanks for watching. And we're going to take this thing out and let you enjoy the rest of the evening.
It's that time again for Buddy Marcus. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best.